8.3, solving equations in the form of a times x plus b equals c. So we're going to link some ideas. Working example number 1, solve equations with grouping symbols. Solve and check. And we've got an example here, 3 times d plus 0.4 is equal to negative 3.9. So we're going to use something called the distributive property. It's a very key concept to master in order to simplify certain mathematical expressions. We're going to use a couple of methods. Method 1, use the distributive property first. So what this means is when you have brackets with a term or more than one term inside, and then you've got a coefficient to those brackets, you can multiply that coefficient by each term inside. So in this case, we've got brackets with d plus 0.4. So d is one term, 0.4 is another term, and they're being added together. And we've got this coefficient of 3 sitting in front. So we're going to take the 3 and multiply it by d. That's step 1. Then we're going to take this symbol, which in this case is adding, so that goes here. And then we're going to multiply the 3 again by the second term, so 3 times 0.4. So 3 times d plus 3 times 0.4. That's the distributive property right there. We're distributing the 3 across all of the terms inside the brackets. And then the right-hand side stays the same. So to simplify this, 3 times d becomes 3d. 3 times 0.4, well, to simplify that, that becomes 1.2. You can punch that in on your calculator. 3 times 0.4 gives you 1.2. And then again, the right-hand side stays the same. So then we're faced with a two-step equation, which we're getting to be fairly well practiced with at this point. So if we've got 3d plus 1.2, the next step is to get rid of the 1.2 on the left, because we're trying to isolate the d by itself. So instead of adding 1.2, we're going to do the opposite, which is subtracting 1.2. So we're going to subtract 1.2 from the left, and if we do it on the left, we have to do it on the right as well to keep the equation equal. So we're going to subtract 1.2 on the right as well. So 1.2 minus 1.2 is 0, which means that we are left with just 3d on the left. Negative 3.9, subtract 1.2, so we're getting even more negative, so that means we're going to have negative 5.1. So now we've got this one-step equation that we're working with. 3 times d is equal to negative 5.1. So we're going to, instead of times 3, we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to divide by 3. So here it is here, divide by 3 on the left. If we divide by 3 on the left, then we have to divide by 3 on the right as well. So divide by 3 over here. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, which leaves us with just 1d, or d, on the left. And then on the right, we're left with negative 1.7. 5.1 divided by 3 is 1.7. Negative divided by a positive gives you a negative. So we think d is equal to negative 1.7. So that's one approach, using the distributive property. It's not the only approach. We could do division first. We can say, well, we're trying to get this d all by itself, but we've got this adding here, and then we've got brackets and a multiply by 3. We can actually divide this by 3 to get rid of the 3. But if we do that on the left, we have to do it on the right. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 is just 1. So that eliminates the coefficient, leaving us with just the inside of the brackets. So d plus 0.4. 3.9 divided by 3 is 1.3. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. So now we have d plus 0.4 equals negative 1.3. We're one step away from having this d isolated. Right now we're adding 0.4 to it, so we're going to do the opposite. We're going to subtract 0.4 from this side. So here it is here, d plus 0.4 carried down. Now we're going to subtract 0.4. If we do it on the left, we have to do it on the right as well. So we bring down the negative 1.3, subtract that 0.4 over here as well. So 0.4 minus 0.4 is 0. So that leaves us now with d on the left. On the right, negative 1.3 subtract 0.4. So we're subtracting a positive, so it's getting more negative. So this becomes negative 1.7. So there we go. By both methods, we've figured out that D should equal negative 1.7. If that wasn't enough of a check, we can still go back and check it again. Here's the original equation. 3 times D plus 0.4 is equal to negative 3.9, left side, right side. So substituting our calculated value every time we see a D over here. So then 3 times, with the brackets, negative 1.7 plus 0.4, close brackets. That's the left side. So let's figure this out. Negative 1.7 plus 0.4, so it's becoming more, or less negative. That becomes negative 1.3. And then we've got this 3 outside the brackets. So 3 times negative 1.3 is going to give you 3.9. Positive times a negative is negative. And look at that. The two sides match. So we've confirmed that our solution of D equals negative 1.7 is in fact correct. So that's the process. Depending on the numbers, distributive property is going to be an easier process to go through. So you multiply the coefficient across all of the terms that are inside its brackets. So now you've got an opportunity to practice it with a show you know. Give it a go.